This is the biggest advice that we need to stop following. I just want to just be the devil's advocate about this retiring early movement thing. Is like, what's the point of having all these cards? What's the point of constantly having all these accounts if you're just overwhelmed and confused by them? Huh. And that's make you nakainin yung balat. What is up, you guys? Today, I'm starting a brand new series that I am excited about, and that is money and mukbang chats, because I am combining two things that I love the most. One is food, and second is debunking money advice that we should stop following this year. Let's get into it. We're gonna dive into both, so make sure you grab something to eat. So let's eat together and let's chat. What I have here is honestly a favorite. I don't know if I made this video as an excuse so that I could eat my favorite food in front of you guys. And this is the Mang Inasal, paa, and pork barbecue. Yum! And then my extra Java rice, so that it's going to be a yummy combination. And just so you know, hindi ko siya kakainin lahat in this video. I'm going to share this with my husband. So I'm probably gonna eat like 1 or 2 of these. And second thing is, I'm gonna debunk 5 money advice that I stopped following so that you don't end up wasting your time and pressuring yourself. So the first money advice that you should stop following in 2023 is getting an insurance out of pressure, or overall like investing out of pressure. I forgot kung gaano kasarap yung Java rice, guys. Kasi I usually eat brown rice with all of my ulam. But then, since this is a fun platter, I was like, you know what? I miss Java rice. Let's eat it. The reason why we need to stop following this, because I've seen it too often where the insurance or the investment becomes more of a liability instead of an actual investment. Because what I've seen, what my clients come to me for is that ngayon nape-pressure sila because of the monthly payments coming in sa insurance sila or sa quarterly payments sila, because they realize that they don't have an emergency fund, or they realize that they have pushed aside the money that they need for this insurance because they haven't built the right spending or saving habits first with an emergency fund. So ang nangyayari is sometimes papasok mo yung insurance sa credit card, and then it might even incur interest if you pay your credit card late, diba? And if you pay your credit card late, yung insurance mo mag-incur ng interest because you have auto-credited it through your credit card. So that's what I've seen often with my clients, is that now they are, instead na maging feeling secured ka about your insurance because you're insured for your future, nape-pressure at na-anxious ka pa ngayon sa present because you are terrified how you're going to sustain your insurance payments. And so this doesn't only apply to peanut sauce. Sarap ng peanut sauce ng mga inasal. Okay, so this doesn't only apply to just insurance. It's like overall investments in general, because I see it too often when Filipinos invest blindly, whether sa crypto or kung ano-ano man yung bagong mga investments ngayon, stocks, being a trader. So what happens is when they prioritize investing in these things blindly or out of pressure because it's trending, it eventually ends up as a liability. Because the mistake I see too often is that when people start investing in these things like insurance or stocks or trading or crypto or G-Invest, they start investing in these things when they haven't built the solid foundation of their spending and saving habits first with a solid emergency fund. So you know if you have mastered that balance, if you have an emergency fund right now, if you don't feel guilty if you do touch your emergency fund for emergencies, if you don't spend feeling guilty, if you don't spend feeling at the back of your mind, you are worried about your bills, So what happens kasi if you invest in these things without having built the solid foundation of the right spending and saving habits is that you neglect being consistent with these investments. And what I've shared often is that investments only work if you do them consistently, if you do them religiously. So for instance, with me sa stocks ko, for my retirement, I do them consistently every single month. I set aside a specific amount every month in the stock market, knowing that it's going to grow over time. And I'm not going to panic withdrawing my stocks if I have an emergency, because, guys, your investment should not act as your emergency fund. Your emergency fund has to be liquid. And that's the common mistake I see is that Filipinos get so focused on growing their money, investing their money, but have you built a solid emergency fund in the first place? Because that has to be the first step, so that if your investments are not going well, like right now sa stocks, it's like plummeting down because of the economy and things like that, I am not going to panic sell my stocks. I'm not going to suddenly panic withdraw the money that I have earned from my stocks, because if I withdraw it right now, I'm going to lose. Lugi ako sa stock market. So, if you want to make sure that you really grow your money sustainably through these investments, whether insurance, stocks, and things like that, then you have to make sure that you have built a solid emergency fund first, so that when you do need that liquid money for emergencies, then you have that, rather than magiging anxious ka about touching your investments, about paying your insurance on time and things like that. You don't want your investment to eventually become a liability. This is my happy dance, by the way. So let me debunk right here, right now, when, alam mo yung, lagi sinasabi niya, kumuha ka ng insurance habang bata ka pa, mura pa yung insurance. We need to stop feeling pressured about that, because what we truly need to prioritize first is that, are we confident that we have built our spending and saving habits? And if habang bata pa tayo, dapat may emergency fund na. I feel like, if anything, that's what we should prioritize first. Because that's what I've seen with my clients, was that when they felt confident in their spending habits, that they're spending with intention, with purpose, and that they have saved consistently, and they have built that confidence that they can trust themselves with their money. After that, they felt confident now in expanding their portfolio with investments. I feel like that's what we're missing out on, is that Filipinos often are skipping steps. They're like, invest agad, grow my money agad, ganyan. But have you built the right foundation, so that the things that you put on top, the investments that you put on top of that, will not crumble? Because if your foundation is unstable, all of the investments, the insurance, the stocks, or other kinds of investments will also easily crumble. By the way, if you want to tumalsik yung rice sa mukha ko. If you want to learn more about how I coach my clients in building up their confidence with building sustainable money habits, so that they have the confidence to invest in the right things, knowing that it's really going to benefit them in the long run, because they have a sustainable financial system. They have trusted themselves now on how to use their money with intention and sustainably, that they have a healthy relationship with money, so that when they do decide to get an insurance, to invest in stocks, that they get to do it right, that they really do get to grow their money properly, because they're empowered to use money as a tool to fund their dreams. Then you can always check my website below for my coaching program, Fund Your Freedom, where I get to guide you in the next 5 months to have the clarity and confidence and financial system to fund your dreams, so that you get to be empowered to invest on your terms. Guys, ang sarap talaga nung toyo mansi ng Mang Inasal. Hindi ko alam, parang there's something different about their toyo mansi that makes the chicken much better. And I'm just so happy right now, as you can tell. But moving on, as I cut this chicken, second money advice to stop following is, and it's gonna be controversial, but this no spending challenge. I see this a lot, and honestly, I've seen this a lot also before when I tried to do this myself, when I was neck deep into my impulsive behaviors, buying a lot of things, and I was like, I'd be so proud of myself if in this month I'm not going to buy anything that makes me impulsive. And I tell you this from a place of love, that I've tried this and it's just not sustainable. It may like feel good at the first month. You're like, oh my gosh, I saved this much. I'm so proud of myself. But then in the long run, you're gonna feel like deprived ka naman. And so when you feel deprived, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna go back to like, I need to reward myself. Right? So, babalik tayo dun sa napag-usapan natin before, which is that we need to treat the cause instead of the effect. Because the no spending challenge, it treats the effect of your toxic spending habits, which is that I spend a lot, therefore I need to stop spending. Diba? It's like, because I'm spending a lot and I'm spending impulsively, I need to control myself from spending. So you're treating the effect of your spending problem rather than what is the cause of that spending problem. We need to dig deeper and find out what is the root cause of you wanting to spend impulsively all the time. Because if you identify the root cause and treat it from the root cause, then the problem is not gonna keep recurring anymore. Like, as I mentioned, like, think of it as like a tree, right? Like, people cut the branches of the tree, but then the branches are gonna grow back when you cut the branches. When you take the leaves off, tutubo pa rin siya. Diba? It's kind of like that when you do this no spending challenge. Like, you're gonna cut off the branch, but then next month, the branch of their spending problem is just gonna recur again. Versus, dig deep into that tree. Like, what are the deep-seated roots of that tree that needs to be uncovered, that needs to be put to the surface so that you can cut it from the root cause. I have moved on to the barbecue. Ang sarap talaga with the peanut sauce. I actually wanted to eat it with the soup that they have, pero hindi siya available sa Food Panda when I ordered this, but then mas masarap siya dun sa parang sinigang soup nila because of the contrasting taste. But yeah, going back when I was deep into my impulsive behavior, so I was hoarding like 10,000 worth of skincare in a month, buying so many duplicates. Looking back, it was because I felt like I was losing a sense of control in my career. I was losing sense of control in my life. And so I was buying stuff to give myself the false illusion of control, right? Because in reality, I was feeling lost with my life, where it was headed. I was going through a quarter life crisis. And so I had to address that life crisis. Not, I need to stop going on Food Panda. I need to stop looking at Instagram shops, right? This is the biggest advice that we need to stop following, of like, we need to control ourselves, we need to resist ourselves, rather than we need to dig deeper into what is the deeper problem here that we are scared to confront, that we are avoiding to face. Because for me, it was that I was scared to face na parang, oh my gosh, the career I've built for 6 years turns out not to be what I wanted. And that was hard to accept. And oftentimes, these are the things that we have been in denial of. And if we really become honest to ourselves, we can really find out what is the deeper root cause of our toxic spending habits. That's why I've talked about that our toxic spending habits are disguised by real life problems that we're refusing to confront. Because how we handle money also mirrors how we handle life decisions. So if you are in this cycle of toxic spending or toxic hoarding of money, pwede rin, toxic hoarding of savings where you feel deprived, take a good look at your life right now and what are you really scared to confront in your life. By the way, don't mind that my hair is all over the place at the back. Kailangan ko ng electric fan sa likod because eating makes me sweat because I'm talking and eating. So, by the way, tell me if you made it this far, like, what are you eating right now? Or what are you planning to eat after this video? But maganda sana if we're like eating something together, para fun. So tell me in the comments, what are you eating? What's your favorite food? Do you like Mang Inasal? Tell me. So, moving on to the third money advice you need to stop following in 2023, and that is retiring early. Controversial, but let me explain. There's this so much hype about, oh, like, I want to retire by 30, 40, 50, and then there's all kinds of like ways to retire early. And I have read that, I've looked into that, and there was just something that didn't sit right with me about this whole retiring early movement. And I realized it's like this unconscious pressure that you put upon yourself that like you need to save this much, you need to earn this much if you want to make sure that you retire early and you're not working anymore. And I just don't like that. I don't like feeling pressured to earn this much, to save this much. When come to think about it, what's so great about retiring early is that you don't work. And that made me think about like, what is about work that you don't want? What's the thing about work that you don't want anymore? And the thing is, if you asked me about this, if you told me about retiring early and all of that back in my corporate job, I would be like, yeah, like that sounds so enticing. Like I'm gonna work my butt off and make sure I retire early. And so it's because like I didn't see myself doing my work in my corporate job for like 2 more years, 5 more years, 10 more years. I felt like that would be such a draining thing to do. And so I just want to really like just be the devil's advocate about this retiring early movement thing. Is like, what about work are you trying to stay away from that you don't like? Because for me, I get to think about like, hirap pala magsalita habang kumakain. Like, I like my work so much. I find so much freedom, fulfillment. I see the impact of what I do to people that like I can imagine myself doing this until I die. Like, no joke. Like, and because of that, I'm not in a rush to retire early because I love work. I love work in a sense that I know I have work-life balance. I have work-life harmony. I'm doing what I love. I earn from doing what I love. And so the thing that I want to debunk here is that retiring early seems like the solution. But like if you dig deeper, what's so enticing about retiring early? Is it because like, oh, you don't have to work anymore? So what about work that you don't want anymore? You know, are you doing what you love? Do you find passion and fulfillment in what you do? You know, that's what I really think about, is that kung namamadali ako mag-retire early, there's something about the current work that I do that I don't like, that I want to retire from. And oftentimes, like, that's why I was thinking about the solution for this is like, really look at the work that you do. Do you find fulfillment? Do you really love it? Because I really believe that each of us have gifts, have talents in this world that we can monetize. Like, I didn't think that I would be in front of a camera, talking to you guys, sharing tips and being all deep and stuff and earning from it through my coaching business. Like, if you told me about this like 3 years ago, I would have been like, no way. Right? So I just want you to really think about it hard, about how can you earn from doing something that doesn't feel like you're drained, that doesn't feel like constant work. I mean, yeah, of course, I'm not saying that your career doesn't require work, but it doesn't make you think that you need to run away from it, that you need to retire from it as soon as possible. So what I've shared before is that instead of having like this one-time big-time retirement and that you're never going to work anymore, think about how can you have mini retirements. I literally have a dedicated video about mini retirements, so you can check that out. Like, this is what I've been guiding my clients with lately, about how can you have quarterly, let's say, mini retirements or more travels that can serve as retirement, so that you don't feel burnt out in your work, so that you don't feel the need to be like, I need to constantly put pressure on myself so I could retire early. Like, it's just not balanced. It's just not sustainable for me. That is the term. I want to live every single day that I am enjoying it in the best way possible. Like, that is my vision for myself, is that if I'm not enjoying the present, then what's the point of the future? Like, I'm gonna put so much pressure in my future because I'm like, oh, I worked so hard in the present so that I've sacrificed so much so that the future is going to be worth it. Like, no, like that puts so much pressure on myself also. So like every step of the way, every week, every month, every day, I always look at how can I make things more fun, exciting, something I look forward to. Like, literally the series came out of that, by the way. Is that honestly recently I've been like in a funk with my YouTube videos. Like, I feel like I'm losing that spark when I started my YouTube channel like years ago, and I don't want that to happen. And so I started sitting down and really reflecting, and I was like, you know what? Let's merge my other interests in my YouTube channel, such as I love watching mukbangs and like habang nagkukwento yung tao. So I'm like, let's do that. So I hope you're enjoying just as much as I am. You know? Solution for this is, first, really look into like, what about work do you want to retire from? Or how can you really look at your current career and really reflect on how can I really earn from doing what I love, so it's not something that I want to constantly run away from or I constantly want to retire from. And second is, look into how you can have mini retirements instead, so that you don't put pressure on a one-time big time retirement for the future. Next, money advice to stop following in 2023 is the constant talk of multiple side hustles, multiple income streams, but in the end, they just stress you out. I remember when I first heard about like, oh, you need to have multiple income streams and all of that when I was still in my corporate job, and like, parang nakaka-pressure lang siya pakinggan kasi like, alam mo yung sobrang consumed ka na sa current work mo, sa full-time job mo, and then you have to think about how am I gonna find additional source of income? And this is what I realized, na this kind of advice can really put you in that danger of that constant trap, that endless trap of wanting to earn more and more and more and more, but never really knowing when is it gonna be enough. Like, we need to define first, what is enough? What's the income, the savings, the funds that are enough for me to live life on my terms? Like, be clear on that first, and then, okay, how can my income support that fund so that I could fund the life that I want? You know, it sounds so simple, but like when this clicked on me, I was like, that is the formula that would allow us to wake up every day knowing that I have enough. And when you know that you have enough, that gives you peace of mind. And isn't that ultimately what we want, like as an adult, right? Is knowing that I have peace of mind, that I'm covered with my responsibilities. I have peace of mind that I'm honoring myself and who I really am. I have peace of mind that I am taking calculated risks for what I want. Like, that's the missing puzzle that I see here, and that's really ultimately the solution that I want to share with you today. Is that this is what I guide my clients on, is like really look at, okay, let's map out what do you really want out of life. When you wake up tomorrow, like, what are the things that you are doing? What are you feeling? What are the dreams that you are honoring? Let's get really, really clear on the destination that you want. Okay, now that we are clear, now let's see what is your target monthly income to get to that life, to fund that life, to cover the cost of pursuing your dreams. That way, you're not constantly blinded with like, oh, hindi pa enough. Oh, kailangan ko ng sobra. Kailangan ko pa ng extra to feel like I am really doing well in life. To make me feel like I can finally take that leap for that business, to buy that property and all of that, right? We need to flip the script in terms of like, rather than focusing on I need to constantly have multiple side hustles, earn more to feel like I have enough. Let's flip that. How can you get crystal clear about what it means for you to have enough? And then how can your monthly income, how can your savings support that? Because that way money becomes the tool in funding the dreams that you want, rather than money is the ultimate goal. And you're constantly chasing the next income goal, the next fund, this next income increase, or whatever it is. Sarap talaga ng Java rice, guys. May mga moments, guys, na sometimes kikrave ako ng Mang Inasal. Iba talaga kasi eh. Iba talaga Mang Inasal eh. I wish this was sponsored, but it's not. So, for instance, what I did is I doubled down on the income that I really love doing every day. So, in this case, it's really like the coaching business. I love doing it every day. I love posting content so that my ideal clients would find me and see that, oh, I need that support, I need that help. Like, I love that. Instead of pinagpilitan ko yung corporate job ko na I really didn't like, and then looked for multiple side hustles so that I could earn more. But what's the point of earning more if in the process you're just burnt out, stressed? I've seen this with my clients when they realize na, oh my gosh, I reached the income goal that I wanted, but then I was only stressed and burnt out in the process. Now naisip ko na hindi siya worth it. Hindi siya worth the money now. So we need to create that balance, right? Of how can we have work-life balance while doing what we love so that we could fund the bigger things that we want out of life. So this is what I mean about when money is just the tool instead of money becomes the ultimate goal. Now, for the fifth money advice to stop following. Na-distract sa sarap, gano'n. As I was saying, it is this constant need to have multiple credit cards and multiple bank accounts to feel like, oh, I'm managing my money well kasi I have so many accounts, I have so many credit cards. Ang kapal ng wallet ko sa dami ng debit cards at credit cards ko. I think this is the point that we have reached na kailangan ko na siyang kamayin. Let's do this. So, if you've been in my channel, you know that managing your money well doesn't need to have these complicated systems and so many cards, because the goal is not to collect these cards and collect these accounts. Is how can you have a simple financial system that you can easily stick to. If for you, that is having multiple accounts and credit cards, that would allow you to save more efficiently and to spend intentionally, then go. But for me and how I coach my clients is like, how can we create a simple system that is sustainable, that allows you to create a balance of I'm spending intentionally, I have a healthy reward system, and at the same time, I feel secured that I'm saving up for my future goals. Like, that is my goal, because what's the point of having all these cards? What's the point of constantly having all these accounts if you're just overwhelmed and confused by them? Huh. And that's make you nakainin yung balat. So if you haven't watched what's in my wallet and how I manage all my assets through digital wallets and apps and all of that, I can link it here so that you can see how simple I make my financial system to be. Like, literally, I love it when my clients rave about that. When they learn about it in my program, they're like, oh my gosh, coach, ganun lang pala kasimple. Pinapahirap ako yung sarili ko all my life. And it's because sometimes we're so focused on like the super overcomplicated things that no one is focusing on the simplest path possible. And that's my philosophy, is that money should make things simpler for you. Like, oh yeah, my clients that messaged me, she recently messaged me about how that it would take her so long to handle her finances, like so many hours, and now it just takes her like 10 to 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I'll share her message here. And just, I love it when my clients become empowered to do their finances simply and sustainably, where they don't need to deprive themselves, where they get to spend with ease, where they get to save consistently, and if there are any adjustments in their income or something that happens in their life, they can let their financial system adjust to their life transitions, to their life goals, because that's how it should be. Like, we need to debunk that something that's important needs to be hard, needs to be complicated. Like, that is the biggest message that I want to put across here. Just because handling your money is important, it needs to take so much effort, so much hours, when it doesn't have to be. You just need to exert just the right amount of effort that will give you the significant results, which is funding the life that you want. Because if your financial system is not doing that, then what's the point? So as usual, if you're interested in learning more about how I coach my clients through that and having a sustainable financial system where they're confident that it's going to lead them to funding the life that they want, you can always check the link in my bio on how you can enroll in my coaching program, Fund Your Freedom. And I'm going to take my bite of the last chicken bits. So now, I'm going to share the rest of this with my husband because I cannot eat this all. But I hope you enjoyed this video, enjoyed eating with me and chatting with me. And if you love this kind of treatment in my videos, please comment below. I would love to hear from you. So yeah, I'll see you in my next one, or you can watch this video where I dive into more tips as well.